Sure hope this works. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the RationalInvestor.com's Daily Brief Recap. Hopefully, YouTube kicks in here shortly, and we'll know that we're good to go. Hello, everyone.
Hey, there it is.
Welcome back to
Yay.
the Rational Investor. Okay, so your quick market summary here for Friday, October 18th. It is options expiry day today. Lots of effery going on in the market. Mr. Trump may have got his hands caught in the cookie jar. I'm hearing a lot of people talking about the blatant market manipulation going on, and I've seen it just repeatedly over the past 6-8 months. Wasn't really paying too close attention a year or two ago, but over the past 6 months, man, it's incredible some of the just brutal market manipulation going on here. Of course, I followed the derivatives markets very closely. Most of the public doesn't pay attention to that stuff, but I'm even seeing the public talking about the blatant sort of tweets and market spins and how mysteriously floor traders netted over $1 billion based on this very questionable market we're in right now. But nonetheless, it is what it is. What's sort of the situation just today in the market? I always like to just do these little chart decks for you guys, keep sort of abreast of the broader market. So we'll just quickly go through them, give you a nice summary of what I'm seeing, and then send you on your way. So we've talked lots about the US dollar index. This weekly price chart is a good sort of framer as to expectations. We talked lots about whether candlestick empire patterns, fractals will fire, and sure enough, one did fire here earlier this week, right out of the gate. And you can see on that fractal event, boom, down we go. We didn't have too many econs come out today, and the econ schedule this past week has been relatively light. But we did have a bunch of Fed governors come out and speak down in the States, and they've actually gone into what they call their quiet period now. So from here on into the end of the month when they do their rate decision meeting, we're not going to hear too many more speeches out of them. And the sort of tone of late is, world is not doing too well. Inflation within the United States and inflation around the world is in check. And I would actually make the argument, based on our analysis at TRI, that not only is inflation not a problem, where the hell did I put the damn chart? But actually deflation is taking over here, and we just pressed to new lows on our deflation measure here. So, indeed, inflation is not a problem. Also, too, they sort of said that we will respond appropriately given economic conditions. I wonder whether more of this kind of conversation is all around things like Europe and maybe a buy the rumor, maybe a sell the news on the actual Brexit event happening. Tough to say. But I am seeing a lot of uppy out of things like the euro. You can see here is the daily euro contract. It's actually now gone and double bottomed. We're getting lots of anecdotal evidence that maybe the malaise out of Europe has calmed down a little bit. Tough to say. Is this more about Brexit and less about current econs than anything else? My hunch is the answer to that is yes. Well, of course, if you are interested in this double bottom and you are expecting euro to move up here over the next little while, me personally, I'm not really a fan of that kind of thinking, considering the economic conditions. So the question is, why is the euro rallying? And I think it has everything to do with Brexit. And if I'm not mistaken, I think, and it's always a challenge getting the damn symbol on here, you see how it says 6E, so let's try 6B. Does that work? Yeah, it did. So there's the British pound. My hunch is British pound. Yep, doing pretty well. And, I'll reiterate again. Got to say, I was very skeptical about Goldman Sachs coming out and saying buy British pounds in here. Market did move a bit lower. It didn't get down into my reload zone, which is what I really wanted to see to get a buy signal. But nonetheless, the market took off here. So congratulations, Goldman. You actually got one of these public calls right. Way to go. So on balance, I think that's what's driving the market right now. And the US dollar index is correcting here, no doubt about it. Exactly where this thing stops correcting, my hunch is this gap here down below. We watched on the crude oil the way they filled in those gaps. My hunch is this gap probably needs attention down below here. But if anything, for people who are interested in taking risk in the marketplace, this is a good sign, because generally speaking, if the U.S. dollar index is trending higher aggressively, then that usually means that people are afraid. They're just running into T-bills. They're parking their money in, the guaranteed rate in the market, Fed funds, that kind of thing, and they're just turtling. So maybe people are coming out of their shells and buying other things in the world. If we go over and look at risk on, risk off in particular, we watch this on a daily basis. It looks to me like on balance, the risk off people on sort of euphoria of maybe to a certain degree Brexit sort of resolution, but me more thinking about U.S. and China sort of trade relationships. And, everybody was getting into a love fest there with the Chinese coming to the United States to talk. Risk off just got its butt kicked there over the past week, and now you can see they're catching a bid here today. How long lasting that is, tough to say. I do have a outright TRI SOF secret options formula trade working on the bond market here. You can see the bond market got whacked. My target here for the spring is down here in this 130 area. So kind of like the S&Ps, which I'll talk to you in a bit about. Any kind of counter trend rallies back up against the top end of the range, I might just go buy another put. But the bottom line here, just for this report today, it looks to me like risk off is stabilizing here a little bit. And, we've talked about this at length recently. Is Bitcoin the ultimate leading indicator for risk on? Could be. Bitcoin did break down here, put in a cute little W, but now has come and broken down. And you notice the stock market put in a W a little bit later on, and it's starting to waffle up top here. The crude oil tried to put in a little W, and it's starting to waffle here as well. But at the same time, too, with all that said, let's just remember that this is an options expiry day. Is there some monkey business going on in the market? I'll leave that conversation for you to figure out on your own. You know what I think. We actually looked at the options open interest today, and for them to take the market out here at about 298, if that's where we go out here today on the S&Ps, options boys hit another monster home run. And we also have been joking, and we joked about it in the daily brief today, that if you actually want to buy a put option on the stock market, insurance or whatever purposes, it's not a bad idea to time it on a Friday, because the options boys are blatantly manipulating the market, and on almost every single Friday recently, we've noticed that the market's been artificially propped up, and then Monday morning it craps out again. So that's sort of the backdrop for sort of risk on, risk off. Risk on is actually come up right up against key resistance. I said that I was interested in adding another put option. I wanted to buy 4. I only bought 2 up here, so we rallied back up against the top, so I went and added another put to the portfolio here this morning. We'll see how it goes. Only time will tell. I haven't thrown a lot of money into this. I guess about $500-600 US so far on this trade. It's a nice little insurance policy just in case all hell breaks loose. And also too, cycle-wise, I'm still, believe it or not, call me crazy, still looking for actual market bottom to come in around the end of October, probably through that Fed announcement. And I wouldn't even be surprised if we get sort of a sell the rumor heading into that Fed announcement date, the end of October, and then a buy the news on the other side of that, heading out of October and into November. All right, so moving on, I get a pretty good idea what I'm thinking risk on, risk off. Gotta say, man, a couple of stocks that we've been buying recently just look absolutely beautiful here. One stock that I'm very interested in fact, I'm long. I bought this original W here, about 6 or 7 weeks ago. Was feeling a little bit worried, and of course I always risk against the bottom of W, so there wasn't anything to do other than just hum and haw. And then today, and really, this is a conversation about the past week. And what's really interesting about this Norboard is that there really hasn't been any news or anything. This thing is just massively broken out again to the upside. So just beautiful looking chart. And this is everything that I sort of teach in our education programs. We ideally want to try and buy closer to the bottom end of ranges than the top end of ranges. So if we, that's not what I wanted. If we do things like reload zones, what a coincidence. Brian's in there actually interested in the long side through reload zones. Imagine that. And also too, you can see this is the original breakout point on a weekly basis from ever ago. So this is definitely a really interesting area for me. And of course now we're starting to get weekly W's, and actually not starting to. They came in about 2 months ago. Now we're just getting some great follow through on the other side of that trade. So very, very pleased with the fabricated paperboard market right now. And this Norboard, man, that just looks sick. And then, big shout out to my co-host, Kevin. He actually brought this trade idea to me a few days ago because I'm super excited about shipping stocks here. And you notice, lo and behold, and you have to really zoom in because you can see, I mean, this is probably unrealistic, but even these highs, $5-6 a share. When we zoom in, hopefully everybody can see, down, up, down, nice hard close, up, down, came back down, tested those lows, beautiful little Doge, and then pop! So nice breakout here on the weekly charts on this Sino. And I mean, look at that daily chart. Oh my God, so beautiful. Don't chase. I suppose if you want to, you could buy W's. But, if you do want to participate, there's a big old gap there. So just work your order down in there. But really, what I'm thinking here is just simply higher highs and higher lows defines a bull market. And now we're starting to get higher highs and higher lows. Woohoo! And full disclosure, I'm long off the bottom here. So great looking stocks. Some just beautiful looking names here. So just an FYI, wanted to bring that to your attention. There are some really good looking equity investments out there right now, in my opinion. Heading on over to crypto and the corn. Unlike stocks like Norboard or even this Sino down at the bottom end of its range, I really don't like Bitcoin right here. The simple way that I would describe this is we're caught in no man's land right now. So, there's your buying zone, just like I showed you with that Norboard. Can I please get a nice little W to develop through green boxes? I'd be super excited if I saw that. And then conversely, strapping on new shorts for position traders. Really, I hate to say it, but you got to be thinking up here. So we're sort of stuck in no man's land right now. It's been, we had a beautiful breakdown there. I showed you weeks ago. If I was a pro trader, where should I be short from? Right there. Dump. This is coming into AB equals CD levels. This was a 50% roll of this range. We talked forever. It feels like it was months about that 50% level needing to be tagged. But even now, it's choppy. We swooned here. This is the weekly chart. This happens to be these MEX contracts for whatever it's worth. Doesn't really matter. You could look at cash market. We had a nice little rally away from those lows. We talked about the market needing to oscillate a little bit around 50% rolls, right? So really that shouldn't surprise anybody. If we put on the 50% roll, there it is, right? And so you can see that oscillation. The only problem here is that we don't have any signs of W's here. And of course, off this weekly chart, there wouldn't be any signs of divergence just after that big breakdown. So we're sort of stuck in no man's land here. I mean, this isn't really a good place to be a buyer. It's not really a good place to be a seller either. If we zoom in and go more off of sort of like what swing traders are kind of thinking, then I think we have to start looking at these kind of charts. So, you know, if you believe in AB equals CDs, boom, 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 then bot setups, you can see how the market structure developed off that 25 level and off of the POC nicely there. And we also had algos go uber bearish, and we actually had a market structure signal come in on an uber reading, which means take a trade. So I think both algonators are short from basically the same level as the botters, go figure. Algonators have had their stops, move stop to scratch levels hit, and you can see we're just sort of slowly stair-stepping our way lower. At 2 to 1, probably not a bad idea to hop off half the position, move stops to scratch on remaining, and just see where the hell the wind blows you. And, you know, you heard on the Coinigy show that we did with Alex Sturck there a week or so ago. It's great to hear that a lot of these crypto kids now are really understanding price action. Because I think you can make the argument, if you go look at that Bitcoin future, we kind of showed you it there a few minutes ago. Where the hell was that? Where did I have my Bitcoin futures? Bitcoin, there it is. CME contract, huge hole on the charts, and really you could argue that actually this looks pretty clean, but there might be a little bit of a gap there, but just a there is a gap right there as well, but just a monstrous gap on the CME contract, and you can see that goes down to 6,400. So, you know, looking at algos and bots and stuff, I don't think it should really surprise anybody that the bot's target objective here is 64.41. I mean, hell, I'm a crypto enthusiast. I'm a crypto bull. I want to see this space do well, but just, you know, don't be shocked if the market has to dump down into this 6,500 to, you know, complete the buy. You can see how this it was really just a conversation about a trend channel. Off at the top, there is the original trend line, right? This original trend line. I forgot the is. Where's my verb there? Caveman talk. This original trend line. Anyway, point of the matter here is 6,400. You can see that that lines up nicely with the midpoint of this channel. And all we've been doing here is just riding along the top of this trend line, this trend channel here, along this trend line. And, you know, since we couldn't W on the other side of it, if we start getting some inertia to the downside, then, you know, I don't think it's going to happen, but you never know in this crazy fucking world. The bottom of the channel actually is down there around $4,000. But I do like the idea of the midpoint of the channel being hit and that sort of 6,400 area. Also said recently to you guys that I thought there was going to be some play against this trend line. And that's basically exactly what's happening here. So, you know, to justify new shorts, ironically enough, we have to wait for this trend line to be broken and then get market structure on the other side of this trend line. So, you know, kind of like what I said off the higher time frames. Is this really a good place to put on longs? Yeah, that's a tough one considering the higher time frame sentiment. Short setups are already working. And in fact, the shorters have their stops at scratch right now. And is this a good place to put on a new short? Not really either. And there's your Bitcoin update. Wow, that was exciting. You know, day traders, we're having lots of fun on the site following shorter time frame models. And I mean, look at this. This is such a great anecdote of maybe we should keep a little bit on just in case there's a little bit of a run. So, you know, this model in particular says take profits at 2 to 1. But I think we could make the case that maybe we should hold on to just a little bit of it and move stops to scratch and just see what happens. Anyway, based on just this simple 2 to 1 model, you can see win, loss, scratch. Looks like we might get, we just had another signal come in here through the daily brief. We had move stop to scratch level hit. If it pops back up here, we hop off at scratch. You can see the alerts are set. If we dump into 2 to 1, we take profits. And it's just a day trader's life. All right, the only other thing I wanted to mention here before I let you guys go is altcoins for those people that are interested. I really like the idea of following this BNB. to get sort of a sentiment reading on the altcoin space. So, everybody looking at this chart should see the nice little double bottom that came in down here. Altcoins have enjoyed a bit of a rally. Things like Doge, which we'll look at in just a moment, have perked up. Is this really a good place to consider new shorts? I don't know. New longs? I don't know. That's a tough one. If anything, for the value people, probably want to hunt reload zones. Gee whiz, what a coincidence. Reload zone is that original double bottom. That's really where the floor on the market is. Market was tanking. Somebody said, no more down, you go up. So there's key support. So if I wanted to be a buyer of altcoins, really what I'd love to see is the market dip into this reload zone, clean itself up, put in a W, and away we go. We might just trend continuation way our way higher here, but that wouldn't be a value trade. That would just be strictly a short-term momentum trade. So what would that sort of look like if we can continue on? I've gone down to sort of lower time frames here. I don't think we need session breaks on here. So, we might bot our way out here. Things like there to there, and we throw on bot levels. And you see there is 33%'s been hit, 66 is all the way down there. So that means that the bot is technically alive. And we should be able to draw our bot trade levels up here. Bot trade, there we go. And gee whiz, what a coincidence. You can see how the market dumped into this level here. And I'm just eyeballing this. I suppose I could make it a little crisper. I always like to, well, not always, but I have been of late. I really like the idea of hunting what we call LJ setups, and if they can correspond with bot levels, then we really got something to work with. So, if you were looking for trend continuation, I think you got one low, you got two lows, maybe give us like another low in here, maybe come down and then break out, and it'll be beautiful little W through trend lines, bot levels, and away we go. But for the time being, I would just be on pause. And as I said just a moment ago, for the value people, I think you probably want to look for some sort of dip back down into reload zones to risk against these lows. And sort of finish off today's conversation, you heard the Duke of Albuquerque just told me to get my ass in gear. Doge has been a really popular one of recent. You can see it's had a pretty nice rally. You can see where the double bottoms are, W's, all that kind of conversation. Really don't think it's a good idea to chase stuff in here. Everybody knows that. So if you did want to participate in the Doge, and I put tweets out to this effect, you can see the cheeky little price gap down in here. And if we draw reload zones, what a coincidence. What do you think the odds are that reload zone and that gap line up? Hello. So you can see, I would, if you did want to participate in the Doge rally, and I think there's lots of, good case to be made, considering Doge has got Dogegon coming up here pretty soon. Are we already at 22 minutes? Oh, me. Okay, well, we've got to wind this up. I would be sort of hunting in this sort of 21 to 23 cents, right? This is off of US dollars, sitting right now at 26 cents. So, maybe about 20% lower. And then I might take a real good look at this. So you can sort of see if we have to reload zone out here on the BNB, where's your buy level? If we have to reload zone out here on Doge, where's your buy level? And that's kind of the way that I'm looking at the market for altcoins right now. Don't chase, work your bids, follow your plan. Okay, I think I'll leave it at that for today. Heading off to class here. Holy jeez, I got to get going. Have yourselves a great day, everybody. Try to play from a position of strength. So there are some awesome looking stocks out there if you play the stock market. And big crypto, kind of caught in no man's land right now. Small crypto, I'm liking what I'm seeing, but I don't think you should chase. Work your bids at levels. All right, have yourselves a great day, everybody. All the best, and bye for now.